Wow, that's fun ever. Always.
Your boy was on fire on that day. Hello, everyone. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. I remember that day. Man, I gotta do an edit with that. Where are my flow stats? Where are my flow state people at? Who's psyched up to fly that spot? Maybe Saturday. T-Bird, Bob Noxious, Athix, Skippy FPV, Todd Allen, Grizz FPV, Jory Patrick, Doug Jackson, Tim Coker, CMYK FPV. Those are the people that have messaged me that they got their tickets to Flow State and they want to hang out with me before the documentary, potentially after it as well. If you want to join them, the group is already kind of getting big. Here's the deal. There's going to be 140 FPV pilots in Atlanta this coming Saturday. I thought, hey, as many of us as possible, let's all get together and not go to all the really well-known spots that at this point are going to have 130 plus people at them, where you're really not going to be able to get to fly, right? So I'm going to take you guys to my spots up here in Alpharetta so that you can actually get to fly. So if you're going to Flow State and you want to come flying beforehand, we're going to meet up at 3 o'clock. I think at Stables. I think we're going to meet up at 3 o'clock at Stables. I have everybody's info. Do me a favor, all of you guys that have already messaged me, shoot me another message. Because most of you, I wrote down where you messaged me. Skippy FPV messaged me on Instagram, Grizz FPV Instagram, Jory Patrick Facebook, Doug Jackson Facebook, Tim Coker Patreon, CMYK, and I talked via text. But the rest of you guys, T-Bird, I know I can message you on Facebook. Bob Noxious, I don't know what you prefer. Todd Allen, you're, I guess, and Athix. I don't know where I can message you guys. So do me a favor, shoot me another message. So that I can write it down, because yeah, I'm gonna have to like message all you guys. If you can message me on Facebook, that's best, because then I can just make a Facebook group text and push it out to all of you guys. So yeah, this is my full-time job. If you'd like to support me, all you've got to do is head over to my website, which is my fpvname.com. That is CiottiFPV.com. This is what it looks like. Patreon helps me out the most. It'll only cost you 10 cents a day to join, and you're going to get so much good stuff. You're going to get access to audio versions of all these live streams so that you can just listen to them. You're going to get access to the Discord channel with all of these amazing people and a bunch of extra, like, you can just get on the Discord, but you don't get the whole thing. The Patreon link gets you access to all of the Discord. It's going to get you email notifications, Facebook notifications, and Discord notifications every time I stream, and it's going to get you access to the Patreon-specific streams that I do on off days or after these streams, or, you know, all over the place. There's also a whole bunch of really good articles over on Patreon, how to PID tune, how to filter tune, how to troubleshoot stuff. Lots and lots and lots of good things going on. I swear to God, it's worth $3 a month, I promise you. Join the Patreon or I will die a slow death. YouTube and Instagram, Etsy, there's some stickers and some hardware. Over on Fiverr, I'm doing flight coaching, flight instruction, helping you out with tuning and helping you build your rigs. I'm also linked up with FinFPV and Remy Tim. They're doing some of their own stuff. And I'm trying to drive as much traffic their way as possible because they're doing awesome work. Finn's doing video editing for you guys. Remy Tim is doing FPV mentorship to get anybody new to the hobby, or just if you have a lot of questions, up in the air and taken care of. T-shirts over on Teespring. This is FPV Exchange and my little store there. I'll show you in a minute. Bunch of affiliate links. These help me out a ton. They are free money. You can still use coupon codes. You can still get discounts, all that nonsense. If before you order from any of these websites, you hit these affiliate links, I will get 1 to 6% of the order for nothing. FPV Cycle, Amazon, Get FPV, Ummagawd, FPV Crate, Banggood, Camera Butter, and AliExpress. This is what my little Etsy store looks like. Look at all those beautiful stickers and a whole bunch of random hardware that you might need. This is the Fiverr page. There's FinFPV editing up your flight footage. Here's my flight instruction. Here's my tuning services. Here's my build planning services. And there's Remy Tim doing FPV mentoring. This is the Teespring store, some t-shirts, mugs. All the t-shirts are ultra high quality. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're super soft and you're gonna love them. Treat yourself. Here is FPV Exchange. This is my little store that Nevin set up for me. FPV Exchange basically pulls from different places. It pulls items from different places and it puts them all into one listing. So for example, these 3B Hobby motors, which I'm actually selling through FPV Exchange, they're available on Banggood or from CiottiFPV. So FPV Exchange is a really slick spot to do price shopping. See if somebody's got the stuff that you're looking for a little bit cheaper. All you gotta do is type it in here. And it's also a way to sell your stuff. And when you sell your stuff on here, you show up on the top, which you really can't get anywhere else, right? So get on FPV Exchange. Nevin is a huge supporter of this channel and just me in general and the FPV community. Yeah, show them that you appreciate it. And head over there, get yourself set up, put a bunch of your items in, sell some of your stuff, man. I know you've got something that's been sitting there for 6 months that you swear to God eventually you're gonna use. Fuck that, sell it. Sorry, not sorry to drop the F-bomb so early. In the chat, MotoRef FPV was first, then came Frank Nicholas, and he dropped the link to CiottiFPV.com. Thank you, Frank. Grizz FPV, the FPV dude. Yannick G, Riot 9, Athix FPV, Jackalope, Aaron FPV, Finn FPV is in the house, Northern Tier, Richard, MotoRef again, Brandon Woodford, Paul McDonald, whoa. Erazi B Productions, I got there. Remy Tim is here. Scott FPV, Brian Ladmiral, Lion Brad Morale, Dauntless FPV, MotoRef again, Benjamin West, Frank Nicholas, Bad for Life, repeat. Richard Athix, FPV Trucker, Bad for Life again. All right. Lots of repeats. FPV Dude says, did you get my messages over on Fiverr? What do you think? FPV Dude, I have replied to everybody over on Fiverr. So if you haven't gotten a reply from me, then for whatever reason I didn't get your message, just send me a message wherever. Facebook, Instagram are the best. CiottiFPV. Who else tagged me? Brandon Woodford tagged me, says, how's it going tonight? It's going real good, Brandon. Scott FPV says, what's up? June Loco says, what's good, collective? FPV Trucker says, yo. Erazi B Productions says, I think you missed one bush. Tried to get them all. Frank Nicholas says, the quad salt's reflection to the door when you hit the canopy in a failed loop. Yep, that's one of my favorite moments from that. I want to put that maybe as like the opening to the edit. Huff19 says, what's up? Bob Noxious says, ready for ripping. Grizz FPV says, so stoked. Brian Ladmiral says, got a ticket, but still have to see if I can get off work. Brian, if you can't get off work, do somebody in the community a favor and RSVP no. And maybe Joshua will send another invite out to somebody that maybe can get off work. Bob Noxious says Patreon. Let me just make a note of that. Okay, caps lock was on. I can't have that. Caleb's, I'm just gonna call him Caleb. He says, which is better, GoPro Hero 5 or GoPro Hero 7 white? Both are 110. There was a problem with the Hero 7 white. Drew put out a video, Ladrib put out a video a long time ago about the Hero white, and there was a problem with it. So look for Drew's video. I'm unfamiliar with either one of those, and it would take me a while to look them both up. But yeah, Drew's got a video on the Hero 7 white. Look that up. And then, yeah, the Hero 5 Black is getting kind of old. But, yeah, I don't know. June Loco says, where the hell is our new Mac? Yeah, so kind of, well, the main reason why I haven't ordered it yet is that YouTube and Google take minimum a month and a half all the way up to 2 months to pay you out. So I don't have the money quite yet. The other reason is that OBS is not working on the new Macs at the moment. So I kind of can't buy it. I mean, the OBS is working, but it's not even working in 720p 30 frames on the new Mac. It's an OBS problem. So I kind of can't, I mean, I could buy it, but then it would just have to sit here. So that's kind of silly. Kind of maybe sort of bad news on that front. I might need to spend that money on a car. Yeah, we'll see. I'm trying to see what I can get going, but I did not. Patrick was very, very cool, and he let me borrow his Jeep for 2 months, and I didn't realize that we were so close to the end of the 2 months, and I can't possibly ask him to let me borrow it any longer. So yeah, I need to have wheels. I need to be able to get around. So maybe while OBS is updating, upgrading, whatever the hell they have to do to make their software run on the M1 machines, yeah, hopefully there's no lag there. Like, by the time they get that done, I'll be able to afford the M1 Mac, which I have a feeling I will. Some cool shit's been going on over the past, like, week. So, yeah, we'll talk about that more on a Patreon-only stream. After hours, or maybe on a Tuesday, maybe on a Thursday. So, yeah. It's definitely going to happen, but I literally can't... there's just no reason for me to buy it right now with OBS in its current state. So, I hope you guys are cool with that. I feel bad that... I feel like I kind of fucking bait and switched you guys a little bit. But I don't get the feeling that OBS is going to be ready, like, tomorrow. So I have a feeling like I can figure this car thing out. And then by the time OBS has their shit figured out for the M1, that comes out. And then I can, worst case, I'll just get a credit card and throw it on there. Apple Store usually has pretty good deals. Although, I have trouble with credit cards right now because I don't really show making any income. Last time I tried to get a credit card, they only approved me for like $300. I was like, oh, okay. What a difference a year makes. I got one with like a $10,000 limit when I was a project manager. Now they'll only give you $300, but whatever. So yeah, the full transparency on everything that goes on over here. So yeah. Scroll. T-Bird says, you owe me $1.99. Jackalope FPV says, get that car, bro. Caleb Stefanaco says, where do you live? Because you might be able to borrow one of my family's cars. I live here in Atlanta, Caleb. That is a very cool offer. I have a bunch of stuff kind of going. But yeah, shoot me a message, and if you've got something going on, and we'll figure it out. That's very cool of you. And, oh look, I'm at the bottom of the chat. Very cool. So, hit me with the questions. Tonight is a Q&A night, first and foremost. But we are going to be doing some more work on the 2Fiddy build over here. This is going to be a 20x20 analog 4K HD on board 2Fiddy build. With 4-inch arms and initially 3.5-inch props. So this is going to be the weirdest 2Fiddy build. It's all the hype train all the time. 3.5-inch props, not an AIO, not fucking DJI. So yeah, let's get back to work on it. We've done a little bit, but not too much. Like I said though, this is a Q&A night, so hit me with questions in the chat. And, yeah. I hope you guys out with whatever you need. Come on! Insta360 go. Get plugged in. Get fucked. Jackalope hits me with a full transparency LOL. Was that a... Have I been not transparent in the past? I try to be. I mean, I don't tell you guys everything, but I try to tell you guys as much as I can. Alright, cool. So, let's get the stack mounted. So that's kind of the brick wall that we ran into last time, is getting the stack mounted. And I think I know what I'm going to do here, which is going to be good because I always mention this. I always mention that you can do this, but then I forget what gauge wire it is in order to do it. And by it, I mean you can make an M2 to M3 adapter. The reason why I have to do that is this base plate is incredibly thin. This is like 1 mil carbon. Let me see. Okay, so it's 1.5. This is 1.5 millimeter carbon. I usually use these little brass bastards that I'm sure this Logitech donkey raping shit eater won't focus on. It actually did. All I gotta do is yell at it, I guess. So yeah. I think it says have fun getting the frames together. I've already put them. Come on, man. Really? You never focus when I want you to on things that are close. There we go. So yeah. This should be a good little reminder for me. I feel like, what's up, Super Deluxe? I feel like it's 16 gauge, but I also feel like that's way too big. So let me go through my little drawer here. No, I think that actually is right. Maybe. I got a little drawer with a whole shitload of wire in it here, and I'm just kind of going through it. What do we got here? So this is 14, and 14 is way too big. So maybe it is 16. Let's see. Do I have some 16? Do I? Are you 16? Yes, it is. So let's see. Yeah, your boy's got fucking memory like an elephant. It is 16. So here's what you do. If you ever need to convert M2 to M3, take your 16 AWG wire and just strip it. Just strip some of the so I need it to be the exact thickness of the base plate. So yeah, that's kind of important. It's important to get it the right thickness. Nobody likes... I don't even have to say it. You guys are all thinking it by now, you dirty bastards. Nobody likes it when it's too thick. I won't make you say it. I'll say it for you. I know. Ah! Don't drop it. It'll disappear. Okay, so that was too thick. Okay, let's go a little bit thinner. That's what she said. No, she didn't. I'll ask her later. Right. How about that? Is that the right thing? I mean, this is this base plate is really thin. Usually you're doing this on a base plate that's a little bit thicker than this, and it's a little easier. This is perfect. This is the perfect thickness, which is basically the thickness of the width of the little wire cutters. And so there's a second one. Here is a third one. And then we're going to make a fourth one, and we'll be all set. 3 and 4. What do you think of that? Isn't that the handiest little hack in the entire world? The only thing you got to do is make sure that you don't rip them when you're taking them off. It's really easy to rip them when you're taking them off, much like panties. I mean, farts. So there we go. We got our little stacks, not stack spacers. We got our adapters, What I'm gonna do is put a nylock nut on the top, I think. Let's try that out. So then you take your little fella, you slide it over the thing, and then you don't have kids, and that's important to me. So you put it on there, and make sure you pinch the tip, and then you're good. Which one is forward? This one is forward. So they go in here. And let me show you. So then it's a little hard to get it in there. You gotta kind of wiggle it to get it in. Maybe it's not 16 gauge. Maybe it's 18 gauge. Just keep wiggling. Just keep trying. Eventually it'll go in. Wait, hold on. I'm putting this in upside down. I mean, that wasn't the problem, but I should still not put it in upside down. Maybe if I put the maybe if I fold it in half and just stuff it in there, the wetness will make it balloon up like those little dinosaur sponges when you were a kid. Yeah, it looks like just stuffing it in there is the move. Rather than putting it on the shaft. Shit. Yeah, so it looks like if you just stuff it in the hole, you can then screw the screw in through it. I'll bet you if I just push this screw, it'll push it out. What is this stream turned into? Oh, you know what? The other thing I wanted to do is put a little washer on the bottom. Although I probably don't need to. Nah, I don't need to. It's fine. So yeah, there you go. You got your little, you see it in there? Come on, you bastard. There you go. So yeah, look at that. Isn't that clever? Wait, where is it? Barely see it on this side. Kind of see it a little bit. Yeah, so there you go. All right, Logitech, I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna slowly move my hand down. Not that you're gonna focus on anything that I want you to anyway. There we go. So yeah, just stuff them in the holes, and then gently screw them, and you'll be all set. So let's stuff all the holes real quick here, and then we'll screw them. Okay. Is there anything that I haven't stolen from Mighty Car Mods? I've stolen their mailbag bit, even the video to it. I've stolen their talking in sexual innuendos while working on things. Jackalope FPV with a $24 super chat. God damn, brother. He says car or iMac. Very cool. MF. Who's MF? The answer is pineapple, MF says. What? Okay. This installation still looks good. How many people just learned something here today? How many of you guys didn't know this little trick with the wire insulation? Admit it. Admit it. Admit that you didn't know it. Admit that you didn't know it right now. Right now in the chat. Admit it. Admit it. Don't lie. Don't lie. Caleb admitted it. Don't lie. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to Uncle Ciotti. Oh my god, a bunch of you guys learned it. I've mentioned that a bunch. Okay, I need to mention it more often. That's it. It's just a really handy little trick. It also gives you a little bit of wigglage. Oof, yikes. Let me get caught back up on chat here. Super Lux says brass tards, breast turds, Brass Turds, sorry on a phone. Alexander FPV says, I've been flying my 2Fiddy long range 5-inch 654S Tiny Tank VTX, getting almost 7 minutes mountain surfing, one of my favorites right now. It's so funny you say that, Alexander FPV, because when I was talking to Tommy a couple of weeks ago about some things that are happening, I'd kind of mentioned that, I'd kind of mentioned that, like, to me, the way that I build the 5-inch 2Fiddy is a long range rig, and that's how I would use it. It's yeah, really, that's really kind of what I think is its best home. But that's just me. I love that you're doing that, though, Alexander. That's it's not surprising that it's one of your favorites right now, because it's really good. Again, in my opinion, it's really, really good for exactly that. Double A is in the house. What's up, brother? He says, thanks for the prototype frames. You're certainly welcome. Metal Dirtskin says, I got the 3.5 T-mount props. Thanks. You're certainly welcome as well, Metal. June Logo says, speaking of... message me, June Loco. Remy Tim says, I have a question for your Q&A if a train leaves Station A. And I'm not going to read all the way through that. Drony Droid says, if it's too thick, you can't even suck it, referring to milkshakes, obviously. And then Paul McDonald following right along with, start with just the tip. Frank Nicholas says, the gauge of the wire insulation was right for the M2 screw, but insulation thickness varies per wire manufacturer. Very true. Very, very true, Frank. Good call. So yeah, 16 gauge is always going to fit an M2 screw in the middle. You guys ready for this? 16 gauge is always going to fit an M2 screw in the middle, but it might not necessarily fit in an M3 hole. Oh boy, they call them innuendos because they go innuendo, yo. June Loco says, speaking of stuffing the hole, have been stuffing any holes lately, LOL? A gentleman never tells, June Loco. Jackalope FFB, thanks again for the $24 super chat. Very, very kind of you. We're gonna go in here to Gear Fund, and we're gonna go 7, 4, 8. Oh shit! Look what June Loco did. I'm sorry, Jackalope. I'm kidding. Jackalope bringing us to 1,700. So we're gonna change this to MIMAC or car fund, and then we're just gonna add some dashes and okay. We're just gonna take this number off, and we're just gonna go 9999999999999. And now I can take some of these out, and look at that! Now it looks, oh boy, now it's in the wrong spot. Oh. It won't move any faster than that? Okay, there we go. Patience, friends. It's hard to learn. Even harder to maintain. T-Bird FPV says, you told us Friday. Frank Nicholas says, I would just use a stack with 3mm openings, Cricket's 20mm purple gold stack. Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, but typically the lighter weight micro focused ESCs only have M2 holes in them, and it's kind of silly in my opinion to run a big ass heavy 5-inch ESC like Cricket's on a micro, unless you just absolutely want it to be completely bulletproof forever. But for me, I'm gonna take the smaller ESCs that are quite a bit lighter actually. And yeah, a lot of them only have M2 holes, which is super annoying, but it could be worse. Caleb says, this channel's live stream always makes my day. Nice, Caleb. Thanks for saying that. It's kind of you. June Loco says, you an indica or a sativa guy? Into couch, brother. Always into couch. I got some stuff under my feet here. I need to pull apart my transmitter one of these days. My throttle stick is getting... my throttle stick is getting kind of sticky, guys. Jesus Christ. Oh, boy. Well, I mean, it's true. I'm not telling you no lies. Okay, so I'm going to very carefully send these screws home in their little adapted holes here. Looking over at the chat. Metal Dirtskin says, been wiggling it around too much? A little bit. Kaiser Soze says, stop playing with it then? Never, Kaiser. Andrew Duncan with a $5 super chat. He says, to the car! Also be booking some time with you soon. Buddy and I got PID questions. Very cool, Andrew. Ooh, that's a good idea, Andrew. Yeah, I'll do Zooms. I'll do Zooms or Skypes with multiple people. Shit, get a fucking room full of people together. I don't care. Yeah, split it with your friends. If $80 an hour is too much, get a room full of people and let's do a Zoom for the whole goddamn classroom. I am absolutely cool with that. What a great idea, Andrew. Look forward to working with you, man. Awesome. Damn, what a good idea. Caleb says, it's not even funny, and yet it so is. Alright, so we're caught up here. Just kind of looking at some other things in chat. Alright. Who's building? Who's building tonight? Anybody? I always like to I always like to think that I sort of encourage you guys to do the thing that you don't want to do, which is repairing and building. So even if you're not building, just lie to me and just tell me that you are, because it'll make me feel better. This one is a little too big, but I think we'll be okay. I think it'll kind of just compress once I get a nylock nut on top. What I don't know here is whether or not everything is going to fit together with the nylock nuts. I'm a little bit concerned that the nylock nuts are going to be a little too tall for the stack that I've got going and this length stack screw. But we're just going to go for it, and we're going to see what happens here. So, here come the nylock nuts. You know, I don't really need to... I could probably get away with plastic. Oh, you know what I would really like to do is use 1mm metal nuts. Let me see if I have any left. I know I've had some 1mm metals before, but I might have used them. They're not nylock. The reason why they're 1mm is basically because they don't have the nylock section, which will be totally fine in this case. I'll just crank them down really tight. But I'm not seeing them in here. Although, of course, as soon as I said that, I found them. I think these are 1mm, right? Oh yeah, they are. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Give it to me, toolbox. Wait, no. No. Pretend I didn't say that. Give me your 1mm nuts, little container. No. Nope. Don't say that. Don't say that one. Cool. So we are 1mm up. I'm actually really curious as to how much wiggle there's going to be in these stack mount screws. It shouldn't be too bad, because once I put these nuts on here, it's going to kind of compress the rubber a little bit. I actually don't really want... I don't want any damping on the bottom here. I want these... I want this little Stonehenge of M2 screws to be very, very solid. I've tried to soft mount the stack in this way a bunch of times on the Acrobrat, and it never really went all that well. It seems to introduce like a different directionality to the vibrations, and then I just never really got good performance with it. It just always kind of caused some strange, hard to chase down filtering issues. Boostin' JDM says regular nut and then a drop of liquid tape is the way to go. Huh? Oh. It's right, rather than nylock. That's interesting. Liquid. What the fuck is liquid tape? I know what liquid electric tape is. Same thing, Boostin'? T-Bird says, I split it up your costs with me, myself, and I working on my Ripsqueak and the Glide for this weekend. Very cool, T-Bird. I can't wait to see. I guess I've seen the Glide. I don't think I've seen your Ripsqueak, though. Brandon Woodford is doing some Glide repairs himself right now. Very cool, Brandon. Not that the Glides ever break. No, they do break. They absolutely break. Frames should. Arms should break. If you're flying a frame that never breaks, you are flying a frame that's too heavy. You can put that weight elsewhere. The frame is the cheapest and easiest to repair part of the puzzle. So if you get a frame that when you hit it really hard it breaks, you can just repair it pretty easily. Rather than if you have an indestructible frame, the motors are still going to break. So you're just going to replace lots and lots and lots of $25 or $12 or however many dollar your motors are, and I personally would rather replace $5 or $6 arms than expensive motors. Oh, nice. Okay, so these are pretty solid in here. Yeah, there's almost no movement. Good. That is good news. Awesome. So there you guys go. 16 gauge it is to make M2 to M3 adapters. Since these are not nylock, I'm just going to give them a nice little tighten here, more than I normally would. Let me actually switch over to the MIP driver, because I am kind of cranking on these. Alright. And I think this is the last one. Come on. There we go. Yep, this is the last one. Cool. So now we've got a tower of power. And oh yeah, they're solid. Yeah, there's no movement in that, which makes sense because the head of the bolt and the nut itself are just kind of doing this to the base plate, right? The fact that there's rubber in between these two, it doesn't really matter because they're really clamping down. Bushin JDM says, yep, liquid electric tape coming apart. You have to get about 3 turns before the tape lets go. Perfect for sack screws. Very cool. I actually lost my liquid electric tape. I didn't lose it. It's in here somewhere. I just can't find it. Also known as losing it. One could describe that as, oh, I don't know, losing it. So, hey, we got a bunch of people in here. Thoughts on this new camera position versus the old camera position? The camera is farther this way, and it's looking kind of straight down now. It used to be farther that way, and looking at more of like an angle, as if you guys are sitting across the desk looking diagonally down at me. I don't care. The camera is not in my way here, which was my worry, but whatever you guys, whatever helps you guys see what the hell I'm doing the most. What I do kind of like about it being here is I can work right in front of myself. I feel like sometimes when I would work right in front of myself, it would be like off the top of the screen a little bit from that other camera position. So yeah, let me know what you think. We've got our tower of poo-poo on here. Wow. And so let's put the ESC down and see how much space we're going to have on top. Now is when we find out whether or not these screws are going to be long enough. basically. Oh, nice. And that so that ESC slid easily down. Sometimes when you use like a weird, that's the smallest spider I've ever seen. Hi, little guy. Get on the camera. Go ahead. Oh, he just rappelled down. He's in the quad somewhere now. All right. Skippy FPV loves it. Finn FPV likes the new angle more. Frank Nicholas says, I think the new camera location angle is an improvement. Well, I mean, that's 3 in a row, so I guess it's here to stay. Cool. That makes me happy because I had to pay money for the for the little extra extension pieces to get the camera here. So that's really good. $8 or so well spent. Or maybe it was like 12, I don't remember. It was cheap though. And it looks like we've got plenty of space for the flight controller. I wonder if I can just use these 1mm washers as my spacers here. Let's take a quick look. I have a feeling I'm going to have to use the 2mm threaded aluminum purple bastards, but let's just try this first, just for the sake of argument. There's a chance that this build will come together really, really fast because everything is already soldered up. This is the squid that I pulled out of the Acrobrat. So yeah, you never know. We could potentially knock this build out tonight. Wow, that'll totally work, but there's really kind of just no reason to do it that way. There's no reason to not use the bigger spacers. So I am going to use the bigger spacers. We have plenty of screw height though, which is really nice. It's always important to have good screw height. Very important. Okay. Ask your wives and or girlfriends. They'll back me up on this. So we're gonna get some purple on here. That makes me happy. It'll look fancy and professional. I don't know about professional, but it'll definitely look fancy. So there we go with some purple. And oh, I just realized something. These arm LEDs are way too big for these skinny ass arms. They're gonna overhang the arms like crazy. Ooh, that's gonna be the most time consuming thing on this build is gonna be extending these wires. The Acrobrat is a 3-inch frame. These are 4-inch arms. I can all but guarantee that I'm going to have to extend the motor wires a little bit, which is really time consuming. But we'll just do it, and it takes as much time as it takes. Hey, Blizzard FPV with $2 Californian dollars, also known as Canadian dollars. He says, "What's up, you beautiful being?" Not a whole lot, Blizzard. Thank you, brother. Very kind of you. EBR FPV loves POV cam shots. What's up, EBR? All right. Aaron FPV says, "I think this angle, let's just see it. Let's just see what? I think this angle lets us just see better." I think is what he meant to type. I think Aaron left out an us. Because as we all know, there's no us in team. What? So the front arms, the front ones are fine. That's pretty cool. Ooh, is that cool? The rear ones are definitely not going to be fine, though. Let's confirm. And yeah, the rear ones aren't even close. So we're going to have to extend the rear wires, which is fine. What I could do... No. Not doing that. Alright, we'll do that once we get the rest of the frame kind of together. Alright, so the little stack spacers are on here. let me figure out what I'm gonna do about the flight controller, which direction it's gonna mount in, and where the RunCam hybrid is gonna go. So I guess I should have measured. It looks like it's long enough. Okay, so we should be good to go here. The RunCam hybrid in the Acrobrat sits up in front, but on this, it's got to sit behind. So there's a couple of things I could do. I could technically put the flight controller in the rear. It really doesn't... Where the hell am I going to put the VTX and the receiver? I'll put them on top of the VTX, or maybe under the VTX. I did that on the, there goes that tiny little spider again. Hi, little guy! Come on. I want to show you to the world. I want to make you a famous spider. Screw you. So, what do we got here? We've got the USB port. So if I just put this guy down here, the power cable looks to be long enough, but I think the video cable is a little too short. Oh wow, no, everything is too short. Everything is too short because the pads. So the pads are going to have to be rearward, because otherwise the cable for the hybrid itself ain't gonna be long enough. So yeah, I'm gonna have to remove the power leads, extend those, and the video lead. So let's get that going. Soldering iron being turned on. Okay. I'm surprised I wasn't running an external 5-volt regulator on this. I've just got this. I've got the RunCam hybrid being powered right off of the Talon F7 or F4. I don't know what's in this actually. Which is kind of cool. I've had some reliability issues with the 5-volt BECs on the Talons. This is really good that it's been holding up with this, because that means that maybe I just got a bad one or two. So let's get some flux on here. ToddTube says, sent you a message on Patreon about flow state. Awesome, ToddTube. I will take a look tonight or tomorrow. Zero Fox says, you might get away with tuning the turning the ESC and remapping. So the reason why I can't do that is I've got the little communications bundle here with the VTX and the receiver all like perfectly wired up. So basically, if I wasn't gonna do what I'm doing now, I would have to desolder the ESC and the receiver, which is more work than just desoldering the RunCam hybrid itself. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That is certainly the other option, and yeah, that's why I'm not going with that option. Really good call. All right, Weller 1010 is up to temperature. Let's get a couple of these wires popped off here, and then I'll either extend them, or maybe there's another pad that I can put them on that's closer to the rear. We're gonna have to take a look. I have a feeling though that I'm gonna need to extend them. And the fact that it hasn't blown up while being connected to these pads, I really like. So that makes me want to put it back onto these pads. The Talon flight controllers actually have two 5-volt BECs on them, which is pretty cool. All right, so, and the other problem with turning the flight controller is it would put the the plug header towards the front, and with the plug header towards the front, there would be a whole bunch of extra cable. I usually like to have the plug headers facing opposite of one another, so that the extra wire gets used up in between them in this way that you're kind of seeing here. So now let me take a look at how close the RunCam hybrid board will get with the video wire. It's not even remotely close. The video wire absolutely has to come off too. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to have to run longer wires for sure. That's fine. That's fine. So here's where the video wire is. That is, do me a favor, chat. CS. C like Charlie, S like Sam. Oh, camera signal. Remember that. Because I'm going to forget it. CS is the pad that I need to put the video wire back on. RunCam Hybrid is free. Let's move this up and out of the way. Get this little washer here out of the... Actually, let's move all of this out of the way. There we go. Okay, cool. Yo, it is unbelievable. Let me get an amen on this one, boys. How unbelievable is it, like, when you clean your desk and then you start a repair or a build or anything, and, like, within 3 seconds, your desk looks like you haven't cleaned it in 15 years. What the... like... I guess it's just because there's so fucking many parts and pieces to these builds, but, like, my God, man. It's really ridiculous. Okay, so with this thing mounted in the back, let's make sure that this RunCam hybrid is going to be long enough. Which one was I going to run? I was going to run the adjustable one, right? Steady Eddie FPV with a $10 super chat. Bro, thank you very much. Micro Monday, as I get into flips and rolls with Ummagawd 3 challenges, my Tiny Hawk and Acrobee both give me huge wobbles after quick flips and rolls. Where should I look to try to tune this out? Thanks. Really good question, Steady Eddie. Unfortunately, what you're running into more than likely is a lack of power problem. Up until very recently, the small rigs just couldn't make enough power. Yeah, they just couldn't make enough power. What you want to try, though, is increasing your P and D gain. So do this. Take the rig up, fly it, land it, add 10 points of P gain on pitch, roll, and yaw, all 3 axes, and then add 10 points of D gain on pitch and roll. There is no D gain on yaw. And then fly it again. Make sure there's no weird noises. Make sure there's no weird oscillations. Make sure the motors aren't getting hot, although on the tiny quads you can't even feel the heat in the motors. And do it again. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Fly it, same deal. Land it. Do it again. 10, 10, 10, 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10. Keep doing that. Eventually the quad will start to make weird noises. It'll get like mid-throttle oscillations. Technically the motors will get hot, but I've never been able to get a tiny whoop motor hot. You can probably get the P and the D gains on those tiny little rigs. This goes for pretty much all tiny whoops if they're built on a solid frame, with motors that aren't banged up, props that aren't banged up. Usually you can get tiny whoops all the way up into like the 80s and the 90s and the hundreds on the P gain and the D gain. That's gonna help, but the main problem is that you don't have enough horsepower. When it starts wobbling like that, it's pushing as hard as it can on either side. Oh. Here's what you're gonna try. Here's what you're gonna try. I got you, fam. I got you. I haven't even done this. So, by default, Betaflight is set up to only access 40 to 50% of the total available horsepower. I'm sorry, the Betaflight PID loop, the error correction loop, is only set from the factory to access 40 to 50% of the full available power that the rig can put out. That could be a part of the problem. When it's starting to wobble and one side is dropping, the PID loop is only able to give 50% power to this motor, and then eventually it catches up, but then the other side goes down and wobbles. Here's how you get around that. So I would say do this first. You're gonna hook up to Betaflight and you're gonna go into the CLI. And you're gonna type in get. Yo, Spider, I don't wanna kill you, but like you're going from spot to spot that like I go. Alright, now he's out of the way. You're gonna type get, oh Christ, what's it called? PID sum. Get PID, and see when you type PID, it gives you a little list here. And it's not in the list. Get PID sum. There it is. Yeah, so it's just, you're just gonna type get PID sum. See it? GETPIDSUM. And then what's gonna happen is it's gonna show you your PID sum values. PID sum limit. So this is the sum, this is the total amount of so this is the limit that the PID, that the sum, trying to explain it in a way that you'll maybe remember. This is the limit of the sum that the PID loop is able to give. That kind of makes sense. This is just saying that the PID loop on pitch and roll can only give you 500 out of 1,000, which is the same thing as 50, right? 50%. So what I want you to do is come in here and copy this whole thing, and then into the CLI down on the bottom here, you're gonna type set, and then you're gonna paste that, but you're gonna change 500 to 1,000. You're gonna hit return, and you're gonna hit save. And it's gonna reboot, and then you're actually gonna do it again. You can do both of these at once. You don't have to hit save in between them, but for the sake of repeating it, because that's what you do when you're teaching, now you're gonna type get PID sum, and here's the other one, PID sum limit yaw. You're gonna copy that, go down the bottom, set, paste it, 400, 1,000. Return, and that now locked it in. When I hit return, it made this line, set PID sum limit yaw equals 1,000, PID sum limit yaw set to 1,000. And then you're gonna hit save. And when you hit save, it's gonna recycle. That is now gonna give your PID loop access to more power. Do that, fly the rig, see if it's any better. I think it will be better. If it's not any better, then you're gonna change the PID values. There's a balance. Your PID values are time-based. Your PID sum is thrust-based. It's actually output. Nah, we'll just say it's thrust-based, because it is. It is thrust-based. There are certain situations where I haven't played around with this enough to know where there's a balance. I didn't realize that this PID sum existed until like a couple of weeks ago, which is ridiculous. I have been doing all of my tuning with the PIDs, like most, and the PIDs are time-based. So when you increase your P and D values, it's going to, instead of sending more power, it's going to come on sooner and last longer. So in this scenario, the rig is wobbling down through its own wash, right? It's going to wobble with lower P values. It's going to wobble like all the way down here before the P starts to catch up and brings it back. Whereas by doing that, by bumping up your P gain and your D gain values, it's going to come down and the error correction is going to turn on earlier. So it turning on earlier is going to kind of accomplish the same thing as having extra thrust in a way, right? But there's got to be a balance. I'm sure the Betaflight devs have it set to 50 and 40 for a reason. They've probably already figured out the balance, maybe. But UAV Tech and Chris Rosser have been pumping that number up to full. So yeah, I think it kind of stands to reason that we should be spending a little bit more time than we have been trying to figure out PID sum versus PID tuning. So yeah, do that. If I have a funny feeling that PID sum might really help. And so for anybody else that's going to do that, here's the deal. If your PID tune is already like jacked up and locked in, that's going to make your shit fly to the moon, because your PID gain is already, your PIDs are already cranked up potentially, right? So they're already coming on nice and early. Well, now you're going to give them a whole bunch more power. So it could potentially cause your rig to oscillate and fly away. So typically doing that, I'm actually gonna set that back. I'm not gonna set it back, but I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Yeah, that's typically gonna require a retune. What I recommend is that you go back to a stock tune. So go to Profile 2, do that, see how it flies. That's your stock tune, and then start moving that PID Profile 2 stock tune up towards where your regular tune is, and gradually see if you can get it to where your regular PID tune values are, while checking the motor heat and all that good stuff. So I'm going to move this up a little bit. I'm going to move the pitch and roll PID sum from 50% to, I think, 70%. Oh, I need to do 700. Oh, and I need to type set. Oh, all's lost. Set! PID sum limit, not 1,000, 700. There we go. And then we're going to take the yaw limit, and we're going to do set yaw limit to 600. And again, I'm doing this because I don't necessarily want to retune this rig. I just want to push the PID loop as far as I possibly can. Like I said, I think that there's a balance. I don't know. Maybe there's not a balance. Maybe moving it up to full strength is always better. But I don't necessarily want to retune everything. And I'm curious. I'm curious if having it at 90% is better than 100, or 80% is better than 100, right? Or maybe 50. Maybe 50 and 40, where it was, is the sweet spot. I want to try to find out. And yeah. I also, I don't tune with black box. I tune by ear, by feel, and like just what's happening in the air, and by the footage. The main thing is the footage. I do most of my tuning while I'm watching back my flying from the day. If I see bounce back, I'll go in and do things to prevent that. If it's too harsh and too snappy and too sharp, I'll do things to smooth it out a little bit. Yeah. So I have a little bit of a different tuning method. So for me, I don't just want to go by what Chris and Mark are doing. I want to do my own kind of screwing around with it and see what happens. Hopefully that all makes sense to you guys. Brap with a $2 super chat. He says, "Remember Club Roadster? You still in the Miatas?" I very much remember Club Roadster. I have a I think I only ever got their stickers, though. I don't think I actually ever bought any of their products. I'm not as into Miatas, that's for sure. I don't really, like, keep up with Miatas anymore, but I can't wait to get mine back, and I can't wait to buy a 4th gen. Probably not for a while, but yeah, the ultimate goal is for my main daily driver to be a 4th gen Miata, which is codenamed ND. That's like the factory chassis code for any of you nerds out there. Yeah, I'll get my NB back hopefully someday, and it's just, yeah, it's gonna get sold and we'll see. But yeah, the shop's had it now for like 8 months, I think, and the owner of the shop just got COVID, so I don't know. It's very, very frustrating. It's very, very, very frustrating that I have like, I probably have like 15 grand tied up in that car, and I haven't had it for 8 months. And before before that 8 months, I had it for 2 weeks, and then before that, I didn't have it for like 2 years. It's just a fucking nightmare. Zero Fox says, "Can we weigh all the pieces for fun?" No, please no. Don't make me do that. Steady Eddie, do me a favor. Let me know how that tuning procedure goes. I'm very, very curious. I'm going to be doing it myself, but I want to get feedback from as many people as possible. And if you have any questions, let me know. And we'll get you tuned up, man. GrizzFPV says, amen. Metal Dirtskin says, I had this exact experience, cleaned the hell out of my bench, and now it looks like I've been living out of it. Chris Croft says, what motors do you recommend for 65mm micros / whoops? For whoops, I recommend, no, I guess, yeah, for all 65mm prop. Well, so 65mm, I'm assuming that Chris Croft is talking about motor to motor. Here's something that's really confusing. 65mm, you can also kind of call 2-inch propellers. It's 2-inch, right? 65mm is like really close to 2-inch, right? And inches. No, 2.5. So 65mm, here's the problem. Some propeller companies will call their 2.5-inch propellers 65mm propellers. The tiny whoop manufacturers call their, they say 65mm tiny whoop. They're referring to the motor to motor distance. A 65mm tiny whoop can't clear 65mm props. It can only clear 1.2-inch props. I don't know how many millimeters that is. That is 30.5 millimeters. So I'm assuming that Chris Croft, because whenever anybody says 65mm whoop, they're talking motor to motor. Chris Croft says, what motors do you recommend? Happy Model or tinywhoop.com. 0802, 25,000 kV. I think the Tiny Whoop ones are 24,000 kV. At the bare minimum for a 65mm Tiny Whoop, you want 22,000 kV motors. There's just no reason to go any lower on the kV than that. If you want less power, just motor limit it out in Betaflight, but you won't. 65mm Tiny Whoops are amazing on 0802 25,000s. It just completely wakes the rig up. If you want more runtime, don't go full throttle or motor limit them down. But don't go full throttle is the better option, because the problem with the biggest problem with Tiny Whoops is they don't have enough power. And the 25,000 kV motors, man, do they have some power, and they just, you can do fully three-dimensional things with a Tiny Whoop rather than it just being an RC car that you drive around. You can start to do power loops. You can start to do wall rides. You can do like stalls up on the inverted stalls up on the ceiling. It's just a game changer. So yeah, 65 mil whoop. You want 0802 25,000s. 75 millimeter whoop. In my opinion, you want 0803 22,000s. That's the best combo that I've found, and I've done a bunch of 75 mil whoop testing now. Rob Axelson says, "Como está, beaches?" He also says, "You having a good or bad hair day?" I don't know. Looks all right. I'd be down for that. Steady Eddie says, "Thank you. I have stock PIDs now, so I'll give that a shot. Thanks." Yeah, leave your PID stock, Steady Eddie, and do that PID change. Before you do the PID change, fly it. Leave it totally alone. Fly a whole battery if you can, and then quickly plug it in. Do the quickly plug it in. Do the PID sum change and get it right back up in the air as quick as you can, because you want to remember. You know, you don't want like a big lag time between that. It's hard enough as it is to tell the difference between changes that we make. But yeah, do that. Leave your PID stock and see what happens with just moving that PID sum up. That could just fix the problem, and you don't have to dick around with the 5 different PID values. Rob Axelson says, "Did something special today. I disarmed about 80 feet up, and no, didn't get the throttle down and rearm in time." Yeah, it's always annoying when you go to rearm and you don't have the throttle down and it won't let you rearm. Eventually you'll make that mistake enough times where you'll start to catch it earlier and earlier and earlier, and then yeah, you'll be a rearming ninja before you know it. Steady Eddie says, "I'll hit you up on Discord after I mess around a bit." Very cool. Brap says, "See you with the ND on track." Probably not. Road Atlanta time gets Seal out there in the Lotus. Yeah, track time, and like maybe I'll do another autocross or two at some point. But track day stuff is just way too much money. Way too much money, way too much risk. Especially with me driving, like I drive similar to how I fly, in that like it's kind of all or nothing, and you get away with it in autocross. Up in the mountains, the danger kind of forces you to back off, so you don't actually go all the way to the limit. But at track days, I'm a fucking hazard, man. Like, because I drive like it's autocross, where like as if there's infinite runoff, and there's not in certain parts of racetracks. There's concrete barriers. So yeah, I stay away from track days. Although mainly they're just too expensive. It's just too much money to do track days. I just don't have that. I just don't have that kind of a budget, which is fine. I spent the better part of like 10 years in motorsports. I kind of got it out of my system. I still absolutely love it. It's one of the most fun things I've ever done. But it's just heinously expensive. And that's okay. I'm happy with how much time I've spent at the racetrack with my own, and with lots and lots of other people's cars, helping them go faster as an instructor. Rob Oxelson says, "Froze the stream, must be a badass hair day." I assume the stream is back. Chris Croft says, "My Whoop with 22,000 kV motors had one die Friday night, and Beta FPV Meteor 65 with 19,000 kV felt so different." Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable, the difference. June Loco says, "What's the difference between PIDs and rates?" PIDs are the automatic error correction built in that have nothing to do with your sticks. The PID loop's only job is to function as error correction, so that when the rig gets hit by the wind, for example, the wind is considered error because it wants to move the rig. No error means the rig is just buried. It doesn't move around, it doesn't wiggle. If the wind hits it, it stays exactly planted. The wind will push it laterally, there's nothing you can do about that, But the point is, when the wind, if the PIDs are perfect, if the error correction is perfect, the wind will come in and it'll just push it perfectly flat. You won't get any wobble or wiggle or angle or... My phone's blowing up, which sometimes means people are texting me to let me know that the stream is broken. I think the stream's broken. Is the stream working? Thanks, Mel. I think the stream's broken. OBS looks fine on my side though, and there's no dropped frames. Chat, let me know if the stream is broken. Yeah, the refresh. Okay, cool. If the stream is frozen, refresh. Thanks, girl. Where were we? Brap Brap says, if I can do it on a ragtag college kid budget, you can do it and keep it together, LOL. I've done it on a crazy budget before, and it was great. I don't have as much fun doing it on the on the super duper budget. There's like, yeah, I've sort of like been there, done that. There's a sweet spot for me with motorsports, and it's where I'm happiest, and like I got to do it for a long time, and I got really good at it, and it was just really rewarding. But I've moved on. FPV is 90% of the adrenaline dump with 100% more safety, and I would rather put all of my time into FPV kind of thing. Motorsport is very time consuming, is one of the other things that nobody kind of realizes or talks about. And yeah, if I got back into motorsport, it would probably snowball. So don't want to let that happen. Reload the stream if it's frozen on my hair. Thanks a lot, YouTube. You just continue to be a real shitbag. E-Doc says stream had a hiccup when you were showing off your hair. Brandon Woodford says it's okay for me. FB Trucker says cool beans, man. Back to work. Nah. Enjoy it while you can, Brap Brap. Rob Axelson backing me up on the fact that motorsports is a time suck. Marcel Alfaxa says it's all about your hair. Marcel, refresh and you won't have to look at the top of my head anymore. Let's see if this camera is gonna reach. Whee! Oh my god, it's 11:30 already? I feel like I haven't gotten anything done in this build. But that's not true. We got the stack mounted. I realized that I'm only going to have to extend 2 motor wires, which is a really big deal. And I guess that's it. But that's okay. That's some things. That's a few things that we got done. All right, so here's one of the camera plates. Let me just... I'm pretty sure it's gonna reach. I was wrong. Okay, so this just got way more confusing. Maybe not, though. Let's see. Let's put everything in position and see if maybe magic things will happen. Capacitor, get the hell out of here. So that's gonna need to be... Ooh, fuck! This build just got so much more time consuming. Alright, so there's one of the camera plates. There's where the RunCam hybrid needs to be. Oh my god, it is so close. It is so close, but I don't think it's gonna work. It's too tight. Oh man, that is a big old slap in the nuts. Shit! Is there a longer run-cam hybrid cable? Is the next logical question here. I am glad I figured this out now. Let me just check this one more time. So with this guy, so this is where it's going to be. It's going to be right there. That's the 30-degree up tilt. And then this board back here is the problem. Yeah, no, ain't gonna happen. Well then, that's just a big old bag over the head, kicking the nuts. There's a chance that if I run the run-cam hybrid board up really high, that it'll fit, that it'll reach. Let's see what that situation kind of looks like. So if I put this fella up top, and if I kind of like line that up there. Oh yeah, that'll totally work. That'll totally work. Okay, so that's the deal. So we're gonna put the receiver and the VTX down on the bottom below. Ooh, that's kind of nice too, because there's these little slots here. So I can just zip tie them down in the back here, and then the run-cam hybrid board is going to be on top of them. And Bob is going to become my uncle. And it'll be great. Ooh! That's going to totally work. That makes me happier than a pig rolling around in his own feces. Feskies. Rolling around in his own feskes. What is happening here? Oh, okay. I appear to have used welder glue all up in there. Ooh, the chat's on fire. Rab Axelson with it. That's what she said. I wonder what I said. Rab Axelson also says, so what are we building fixing? This is the Ummagawd 2Fiddy build with a 20x20 stack and a run-cam hybrid. Double A says, you really seem to like the run-cam hybrid. Is it good and solid? It is both good and solid, Double A. It really just impresses the shit out of me. The 4K 30 and the 2.7K 60 are shockingly good. And if you want an example of that, all you gotta do is come over here to me channel and look for the edit called 4-inch motion. Contrary to popular belief, it's not an edit about my penis. 4-inch movement, rather, sorry. Yeah, 4-inch movement. This edit was filmed with a 4-inch prototype build with the run-cam hybrid. Here comes the link. I'm gonna mute it and put it full screen for you guys to take a little look at. It's gonna look like a bag of ass through the live stream because I can only do 720. But yeah, this is the run-cam hybrid. Watch it at the link that I just sent you though, so you can actually see it in full quality. It's really, really good. It's a really good camera, and it's been pretty damn durable too. Like, I think I may have finally killed one, but man, it took a ton of abuse to kill it. So I've been really, really happy with the run-cam hybrids, and I mean, you guys know I'm impossibly hard on gear. So yeah, if it survives 10 minutes with me, then it's durable. Okay, so man, there's a lot there's a lot going on with this build now. So, oh, maybe not. There's not that much going on with it. I just got to put my head down and do it now. So this is this is gonna be time consuming because I gotta like figure out what the hell the height is on this, and then I gotta find some fucking M2 standoffs. Let's see what I got in my miraculous little box of tricks and loveliness. Hey, look at this. I've got 4 of these in purple. You guys see that 5-inch rig bullying me around? Fucker. I think that was Adam. I think that was Squints. Ooh, what about these little guys? What about these little fellas? What are them? What are they? I can't believe I just said what are them. What an asshole. So, wow, even these aren't tall enough. Okay. Jeez. So I need like a 15 millimeter M2 stand. I basically need a standoff. That's funny. I don't have any. I don't have any, what's this, a 20? Oh no, this is a 15. This is exactly what I need, I think. Ooh, yeah. That'll do it. That's what I need. So I need a 15 mil standoff. 15 millimeter tall, that is. And no way. Achoo! Achoo! That ain't it. That's a 20. Damn. So what I could do, what I think I'm gonna do, I mean, I could just use multiples of these little 10s, but that's silly. So I'm gonna use a, I think I have some nylon 15 mils in a in the case under there. I can't imagine that I full-blown threw them away. Oh God, look at this fucking gangly bitch. Nobody wants to see that. Keystrokes are now down. Good, thanks OBS. Really, way to be OBS. Hold on. Stream's gonna pinwheel for a second. I'll be right back. Wait. Be right back. Come on, OBS. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm back. And keystrokes should work again. Hey! Now we're cooking. Double A says, what is the stance you have to have for the run cam hybrid? What do you mean by I don't understand what that means. Stance? What do you mean by stance? Brap says, flip the hybrid upside down and flip the image with UART cam control. If I flipped it upside down, the wire would be farther forward, and it would definitely not reach. So yeah, can't do that. Bob Noxious says, don't forget that flow motor. Stick it in your FPV bag, and I'll get it Friday. Sucks to have 3 good flow motors and can't finish a build. Bob, what KV is it? Is it this one that I put aside here? 2306.5, 2450 kV. This has been sitting over in the area where I put stuff for other people, and I've had no idea why, but I've just kept it there. And I also have these orange wires for T-Bird. I'm gonna put these both in my flight bag right now. It's up to you guys to remind me. Because there's a snowball's chance in hell that I'll remember. Why is my nose getting all stuffy? Stop it! Fucking, come on, nose, stop it! This is bullshit. No reason for this. You guys want to see something cool? I got something for your asses. This build ain't getting done tonight. I'm just gonna fuck around for the next 20 minutes. Those of you that follow me on Instagram and saw my stories today know what I'm about to show you. Those of you that don't, sucks for you. I don't know. But yeah, this is something I did today that came out pretty... Oh, it's not gonna play on this fucking computer. I'll try it anyway. Bop 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 bada bing 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 bong bong bong. Come on. Work. Yeah, this ain't gonna play. 21, what? Alright, never mind. Never mind. Computer too slow. Let me see if I can find these standoffs. This is kind of bothering me now. I think I have them. I think I put them in a little bag. There is actually a chance I threw them away. I have a potential memory of I'm never ever ever gonna use these. I'm gonna throw them away now. Let's see. If I had saved them, I would probably have put them in here. Oh! Is that... Nope. Oh! Nope. Here's the M3 ones. I saved the M3 ones. Fuck! Really? I only saved the M3 ones. What an idiot. Oh, what a colossal fucking fail. Oh my god, I saved the ones that, you know, you hold on to stuff and you're like, the whole time you're holding on to it, you're like, I'm never gonna use this. Oh, there they are! I'm a fucking genius. See, this is why you hoard shit. For your 2Fiddy build. Can I stop saying 2Fiddy yet? I'm trying to say it for you guys. I don't feel good saying it. It feels weird, man. It feels weird. Yeah, man. God damn. This is why sometimes it's okay to hoard stuff. Right here, this moment. I'm coming back. Hold on. I made a mess. Oh. Yeah. Watch now. There's not going to be 15 mil in here. There's only going to be 20s. Guaranteed. That's the next step here. Wait. Hold on. Lead Fingers just got the Caddx Tarsier. Any experience? I have the Foxeer Mix 1 and Mix 1 now, and the FPV feed may as well be black and white. I do have experience with the Caddx Tarsier Lead Fingers, but since you just bought one, I don't know if you want me to get into it. So if you're okay for potential disappointment tonight, tag me again, let me know. If not, just, you know, ignorance is bliss. It's not bad. But let me know. I don't want to ruin your night. Double A says, what, yeah, Double A, what is the stance you have to have? Stance? 20 by 20. I think that's the answer to your question, Double A. 20 by 20. Roboxison says, Roboxison also says, how much horsepower or torque does the wing on the car add? None. It takes away. Not all the time. If you stall, depending on how the air comes down off the roof line, the back window of the car, I think if you stall a wing out just right, it can actually clean up the air coming down off the roof line. Maybe not, though. Maybe not, because it's a thing that's in the airflow. June Loco says, do you think 1105 5500 kV motors can handle 4S? Totally. Yeah, that 5500 kV is just about right for 4S on 2.5-inch props. So yeah, that should be really good. Run that on 4S with 2.5-inch props. You might want to motor limit it down a little bit. Zero Fox says, so that camera is better than a Session. Definitely not. Runcam Hybrid is definitely not as good as a Session 5. I don't even know if it's as good as a Session 4. Yes, it has a higher resolution number, but the quality of the image, the resolution number doesn't mean shit. 4K means nothing. 2.7K means nothing. There are 1080p cameras that look better than 2.7K cameras, better than 4K cameras. The resolution of the camera don't mean shit. The Runcam Hybrid is really good. I would maybe put it on par with a Session 4 in some ways, but not in others. Mainly the speed, or the lack thereof, that it adjusts from light to dark is nowhere near as good as any GoPro product. But in the right light, if you freeze frame a hybrid, it probably has a little bit more detail and resolution than a Session 4. But the Session 4 is going to look better because it's going to adjust to light more quickly and whatnot. But that's an unfair comparison. You know, you're comparing Runcam, a little FPV security camera company, to GoPro, right? So that's just a totally unfair comparison. But they're both really good. Ed K says, bless you, cut the long one down to size with a Dremel or something. Nah, I'll just go through my shit and find all the hoarding stuff. Rabox says, oh snap, look at that hair. Frank Nicholas says, we can't see what you're talking about. Story of my life. Oh, YouTube just did the thing. Robox says, YouTube just did the thing. Bob Noxious says, yes, that is it. Nice. Double A says, how much room? Like, what is the shortest standoff you can use with the Runcam Hybrid? Oh, God. Probably 2 millimeter. 2 millimeters. Yes, 2 millimeters is the shortest standoff you can use. Robox says, okay, it's time. Leadfinger says, I got it. Clearance, do it. Talking about Caddx camera. So the Caddx Tarsier FPV cam is phenomenal. The HD is totally acceptable, although nowhere near as good as the Runcam Hybrid. The biggest problem with the Tarsier is the Bluetooth setup that you have to use to change the settings and to make the damn thing record. It is just a nightmare. Eventually you kind of sort of get used to it, but it's still a pain in the ass. But it's a great camera. There's a lot of good things about it, but there's a lot of really frustrating things about it, which you'll see soon enough. But you're into FPV, so you're obviously incredibly stubborn. So you'll be fine. You'll be totally fine. Your stubbornness will kick in, and you'll look up 15 YouTube videos when you can't get the goddamn thing set up because it's a nightmare to get set up initially. And yeah, you'll be fine. BeepTube says, correctly designed spoilers are supposed to help the air spill off the back cleanly, I thought. So yeah, so BeepTube is calling out spoilers. A spoiler is a I don't have a single like model of a car. A spoiler, so the roof line of the car is like this. This is the trunk of the car. The front of the car is over here. A spoiler is a little lip on the end of the trunk, and that lip is there to stack the air up in the above the trunk lid, basically, so that the air doesn't have to come down as far off the back window to get to the trunk lid. So you make like this little pocket of air, similar to pickup trucks. Pickup trucks get better gas mileage. Always laugh at the idiots that drive around with the tailbed with the tail bed. Ah! What's it called? What's the back of the what's the back of the back of the fucking pickup truck called? The tail bed, tail bed, door, tail door, tail door bed, tailgate. I didn't get it. I read it in chat. Always laugh at the morons with the tailgate down, thinking that they're getting better gas mileage. They're not. They're getting worse. With the tailgate up, it makes a big cushion of air in the back of the pickup truck, so that the wind coming down off of the cab doesn't have to go all the way down into the bed. It just hits that pocket of air, and that's how a spoiler works. 661 says that's a diffuser. Incorrect, 661. Diffusers are on the underside of the car, typically in the rear. The rear diffuser is on the bottom of the car, and the point of the rear diffuser is to accelerate the air going under the car, and get it out from under the car as quickly as possible. Spoilers are up on the rear of the trunk lid, to make a little pocket of air on the top of the trunk lid, similar to a pickup truck. Mythbusters, I believe it was, or who tested the pickup truck myth that you get better gas mileage with the tail. They also tested. I think they got the best gas mileage with it's like a net in the back. So there was a net that they replaced the tailgate with, and the net provided, like, I think just the right amount of air blockage for there to be a pocket of air, but then it also let some air through. So that's where they got the best gas mileage. BeepTube says, wings for downforce definitely cause more drag most of the time, though. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, too. Like, a spoiler has the potential to create less drag, but I don't think a wing will ever create less drag, because you're putting a wing up higher off the deck, more in the airflow. Let's stop talking about cars. I'm probably boring 80% of people. I could talk about this for like another hour. Rob Axelson says, you got to remember when you give comparison camera, you're speaking from a photographer's standpoint. Most pilots don't understand photography. Yeah, very true, Rob. But I don't know. I am coming from a photography standpoint, but that's a good standpoint to come from when it comes to HD cameras. How about that? That's what I was trying to say a minute ago. Battledurskin says, I don't think I would trust anything a car person says about aerodynamics unless they work in Formula One. Battledurskin is kind of tapping into the fact that aerodynamics is almost infinitely complex. There's a funny analog, but not analog. There's a funny similarity between certain things in motorsports and a lot of things in FPV, in that, like, there'll be like a common knowledge that is correct, but it's really not. Like, there's a lot of situations, not a lot, but there are plenty of situations where it's like, oh, I need to improve this, so the common knowledge says to do this, and then you make that change, and it's worse. Because the system is so complex that you making this one change affects the one thing, but in a positive way, but then it affects like 14 other things in a negative way. And that's what Metal Dirt, and even the aerodynamicists in Formula One, they're still fucking throwing darts to some extent. It's crazy. It's really wild. Aerodynamics is a infinitely fascinating subject in cars, because cars have the horsepower to really push a lot of air, and when you start to really push a lot of air, some really weird shit happens. Double A says, not the board, the camera part. Oh, okay. 28 millimeter standoffs, Double A, are what you need in order to get any amount of up tilt on a RunCam hybrid camera. The camera is 24 millimeters tall, so if you put 25 millimeter standoffs, you can get like 1 degree of up tilt. So realistically, you need 28 mil standoffs. Maurice Quarles says, why is T-Motor's F7 Pacer flight controller now $80, and what do you think of the T-Motor F7 Velox? I don't know anything about any of the T-Motor electronics personally. I've heard from a bunch of people that they're really good, but I've never used any of them. My guess as to why that flight controller is now $80 is that they're all about to be $80 because of the chip shortage and because of all the shit that's going on. So that's my guess, but I don't have any actual info. Rocksteady FPV says, does the standard glide frame show props in view with a 20-degree Hero 8 mount? Yes, just a little bit. It shows a little tiny bit of propeller with a 30-degree mount, so it's going to show a little bit more with a 20-degree mount. What I can almost guarantee that you can do is run a neutral gray front prop, and you won't even notice it. But it'll be there. For sure it'll be there. There's everybody telling me tailgate. Frank Nicholas says, it's been proven that the tailgate down on a truck does not improve aerodynamics. Wind tunnels show it. Oh, that's cool. I'd love to see a wind tunnel test. The Mythbusters guys just tested it with their... they built a rig where the amount they could put gasoline into a one of those vertical fucking, I don't know. They did it in the real world. June Loco says, have you seen WFPV's lead spoiler or lead spoiler? I don't know which. Quad spoiler. I have in person at Rampage and on the internet. It's funny. Where we at? YouTube did the thing, by the way. We got that. Rob Oxton says, diffusers assist with negative pressure and cause the rear to suck down, improving traction. Correct. That's exactly what diffusers do. The geometry of, here we go again, the geometry and the angle of the diffuser. So I know a good amount about aero on cars because a really good friend of mine is a guy by the name of AJ Hartman, which those of you that are really nerdy into cars will know that name. AJ Hartman now runs an aerodynamics company and sells really nice wings and diffusers and splitters and hood vents and some other stuff. And I was good friends with him when I was deep into motorsports in like the 2000s or so, when I lived up in New Jersey, and he taught me a lot about aero, and I actually got to watch him build his American Iron Mustang and just go ham on the aero of that car, and that car is pretty well known in the American Iron world because it's like low budget, lots of aero, low horsepower, but he just kicks the shit out of everybody. It's pretty cool. Now he's got the only like American Iron Mustang with a V6 in it. He's got a the turbo V6 power plant. I forget what the name of the power plant is now, but yeah, the car's pretty gnarly. Rocksteady says, have you tried the dead cat arms on the Glide? I have. They're great. Will it freestyle as good as the Truex version? Absolutely not. You probably won't notice the difference, but there is a difference. You can't, I mean, it's just science or physics or whatever. You can't move the front motors back like that and not have there be, you're making a shorter lever. So yeah, there is a performance difference. I've never been able to feel it because my PIDs are kind of cranked up, and like when I put those arms on, I think I like by default push more PID pitch, P gain and D gain in. But yeah, definitely there is a difference. They definitely work really well. I would not want to freestyle with them because they make the nose of the quad the farthest forward point. So every time you crash into something, you're going to smash the camera and the GoPro first. So they're not for freestyle. They're for cinematic work, unless you don't crash into hard objects. If you're going to be crashing into concrete and metal and shit like that, I would definitely not recommend you run the dead cat arms. You're just going to break so many cameras, so many GoPros, probably a bunch of base plates and top plates as well, because that's going to be the farthest forward point of contact on the rig. So every time you smack into something face first, it's going to just demolish the top and bottom plate. Whereas with the regular arms, the ends of the arms are the farthest forward point. So when you hit something, the arms hit first. And the arms are nice and thick, and they're meant to take slams. Frank Nicholas says, wings provide downforce and less drag. Non-high speeds, wings generally don't provide any benefits, usually detriment. Yeah, I mean, that wings providing less drag, I've never seen. I've never seen a wing produce less drag, because it is an airfoil that is being placed up in the airflow, and even when it's fully stalled out, it's still there. If the aerodynamics of the rear end of the car are bad enough, maybe a wing up in the airflow could clean up the airflow enough, but I really doubt that. Downforce for sure. I mean, you put an airfoil in moving wind and it's gonna for sure create downforce, but I don't think I've ever seen a wing provide less drag than no wing. And then when Frank says at non-high speeds, the crossover point is usually 40 to 60 miles an hour, depending on the size of the airfoils. We used to have some really interesting FSAE cars that would show up to autocrosses that would have aero that they would try to design to work down as low as like 20 and 30 miles an hour, which is pretty fucking impressive. But yeah, that's pretty aggressive. Pikes Peak cars also sometimes will do that because the air gets so thin up at the high elevation. They have to try to make the aero work at really low speeds. Journey Droid says, cars, quads, condoms, pinch the tip. Topic is irrelevant. We're all engineers at heart, educated or otherwise. That's very true, Journey Droid. Very true. Remy Tim says, just rename the whole channel something super new and original, like car talk or something. Love the aerodynamics analysis. Double A says, God damn it, YouTube, why you gotta do it to me? Thanks, finally got it out of you. Now I'll check the check the little guys over here. June Logo says, you think even after the chip shortage the price will remain expensive? Man, I fucking hope not. I hope not. But absolutely no idea. Chris Croft says, this is now Ciotti Cars and not CiottiFPV. Frank Nicholas says, drag off the back window / trunk of a car will be worse than a proper wing on the same car. There we go. It sounds like Frank's researched this more than me. So yeah, sounds like wings do decrease drag. That's news to me. Most of the motorsports guys that I know that do things that are requiring top speed and less drag will pull the wings off and they'll hit higher numbers. But again, with aerodynamics, there's a lot going on. And yeah, I'm never the smartest guy in the room. So Rocksteady says, thanks, you're a scholar and a gentleman. Appreciate the kind words, Rocksteady. Double A says, where are we at? Double A says, okay, CiottiFPV for anyone wondering. I have only 2 rigs over here standing tall enough to use the RunCam hybrid. Those 2 are old Radex frames from the box thing. Interesting. Get yourself, what are you building, Double A? If you're building a 3-inch rig, get yourself a BQE Ripsqueak Micro. They might be back in stock. And then you just run 28mm standoffs and you'll be good. Although it sounds like you're trying to use frames that you've got, so. Random FPV says, hey fucker. What's up, Random? Short Bus says, I'm building a lightweight 4-inch. Any input on good motor size KV prop combo, looking more for fast flying than efficiency? Short Bus, I'm going to ask this, and I mean you no offense, but I'm asking this for a very specific reason. Why? Why are you building a 4-inch? 4-inch doesn't really have a purpose, which is why I want to ask you this first. If the answer is I'm building it because I want to, totally cool. Totally get it. I did that. I built a 4-inch rig. It was more for testing, but I think you really want to ask, like, yeah, if the answer is I just want to build it, totally fine. But what I want you to understand is that 4-inch doesn't have a home. There are no HD cameras that are the correct weight for a 4-inch rig to carry. The only real reason to build a 4-inch is if you want a long-range rig to carry like a Runcam hybrid, I guess. But even then, it would kind of make more sense to build a 5-inch, like a Ummagawd 2Fiddy with 5-inch arms. 4-inch is just not, it's just not a size that makes any sense. There's not much testing that's been done with them. I've done more than most. I found 2004 motors to be the best bet. The Gemfan 4023 props were the best I found. And frame choice is hard because there aren't many frames. But 4-inch really doesn't make much, if any, sense. Let me see if I have 15 mil standoffs in here now that I'm almost caught up in the chat. Smoothie Groove is here. He says, what did I miss? This and that. Some innuendos, some car talk, you know. Rob Oxison says, I want to apologize to all the wing horsepower question was a tongue-in-cheek joke, didn't mean to hijack the thread, says chat. That's all good, Rob. I love talking cars. Frank Nicholas says, there are local school buses that have curved wings raised above the back top roof edge of the school bus. This is to improve fuel economy. Wow, that's weird. Damn, I learned something every stream. So wings create less drag. Very cool. That gives me an excuse to put one on, to buy one, put one on every car I own. I love the way they look. So, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah. I wonder why all those guys are hitting bigger numbers by taking the wings off. Interesting. It's probably just placebo. They're probably pulling the wing off and then assuming that they're going to hit higher speeds. Some of them have data though. Some of them have data acquisition on the cars. Yeah, it must just be placebo. They must just be not looking at the data and just pulling the foils off and just assuming that they'll hit higher numbers. Interesting. Wow. Unbelievable. Really good example of how strong placebo is, you know? I mean, these are like really smart like guys that are really invested in motorsports. YouTube did the thing, of course, trying to find my place. Oh no, I'm good. All right, cool. Double A says right now I'm not trying to build anything, going through the fleet and updating everything 4.2.9 while learning how to tune for the solid first time. Nice, Double A. Learning to tune is a really good skill to have. Short Bus says, good question. I wondered the same thing about why I'm building a 4-inch. I think it was because I bought the TBS Pod Racer frame. Maybe I'll just look at a 5-inch frame. Yeah, like I totally get the urge to just build every prop size. But like, I don't know. Sometimes without access to infinite money, I think it kind of makes sense to kind of go like pull back a little bit and be like, let me not just like, you know, like it's kind of there's a reason that 4-inch isn't big. There's a reason that 4-inch isn't popular. That's it. You know what I mean? And it's like, I get it too. Like I wanna find the super secret thing that flies extra good or what, you know what I mean? Like, or that nobody else has and be unique. But at what cost? You know, you're gonna a fresh build is it's gonna take a lot of time. It's probably gonna take a lot of money. You might not be able to use the parts that you buy for it on anything else. At which point you just sell everything and you lose like 50%. You know, so it's like, well, I don't know. Frank Nicholas says, guess I was wrong about the wings on the school bus. With a link to Celia IR Foils school buses. Friendly Nomad says, do car guys still modify early 90s Civics? Or is there a new low-cost car that guys want for modding? Nope, they still do. Friendly Nomad. EK9 Civics are still very, very, very strong. 90s Japanese cars it was a very special era. The chassis engineers really kind of hit their stride and started to really figure out how to make a chassis that's rigid enough, and cars were being built lightweight with not a lot of electronics and not a lot of safety measures. So 90s Japanese cars are in this really interesting sweet spot of chassis is strong enough, car is light enough, aftermarket is fucking huge, right? So lots of R&D, big long R&D cycle, and they're very desirable because a lot of the car guys today that have money were growing up when were teenagers when those 90s cars were coming out. I'm a perfect example of that. I would love to only own 90s cars for the rest of my life. I think the cars that we got in the 90s, the FCRX7, the FDRX7, the R33 and R34 Skylines, the Mark IV Supra, the MR2, the rounded off one, not the first gen, even some of the American cars in the 90s, the 90s Mustangs, I have such a love affair with. Yeah, a lot of really, really cool cars that came out of the 90s. Friendly Nomad says, FPV Cycle Tooth Fairy 2 5-inch is amazing. Are you planning on building a 5-inch or 3-inch? For me, Friendly Nomad, 5-inch is only for full-blown freestyle rigs, full fat, 600 plus grams. 3-inch is 200 grams. That's really... I very specifically match the prop size to an all-up weight to give me the closest flying experience to a 600 gram 5-inch rig. That's the 600 gram 5-inch rigs are the majority of what I fly. So all the flying that I do, I want to mimic that as closely as possible. And a 3-inch propeller at a 200 gram all-up weight is the closest in terms of flight dynamics to that up there. The really lightweight 5-inch rigs fly like toothpicks, and that is a completely different flying style, completely different everything, so you have to completely change your muscle memory, and I don't want to do that. I try to fly things that are as similar as possible so that I don't have to retrain myself every single time I go to fly. One of the keys to being a better pilot is specifically to fly the same exact thing over and over and over again. You build identical rigs and you fly the exact same rig every single time you fly. That is one of the, if not the best thing you can do to get better as a pilot. So to then like build a really lightweight 5-inch and then a lightweight 3-inch and then a fat 3-inch and then a fat 5-inch, like every single time you fly a different rig, you have to totally take yourself out and retrain everything. And then every time you go back to another rig, you got to do it all over again. And it really makes it difficult to progress as a pilot when you're doing that all the time. It's one of the problems that I had like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And when I stopped doing that and when I started building identical rigs and just flying those, my piloting skills went fucking crazy. And I got so much better so fast. So, yeah. Bob Noxious says, I built a 4-inch that freestyles fairly well. Yeah, 4-inch rigs fly great. They just don't fly as good as 5-inch. And compared to a 3-inch rig, there's just no reason for like the extra size. Unless you're doing long range. Richard says, I need to find a 2.5-inch to build. I got an overflow of 2.5-inch props. Just do I mean, the Ripsqueak Micro, you can buy 2.5-inch arms for it. I would probably do that, because then when you get through all those 2.5-inch props, you can put 3-inch arms on it and build it up as a 3-inch rig. Richard says, Mitsubishi 3000 GT. I was never a fan. I was never a fan of the GTO. So the Mitsubishi 3000 GT is only called that in America. It's called the GTO everywhere else. They didn't call it the GTO in this company because Dodge would have been pissed. Dodge probably found out that they were and got pissed. But yeah, the 3000 GT was just too fucking fat, man. They just threw too much technology at it, rear wheel steering and active aero and all kinds of nonsense. And I'm also not a fan of their power plants. Mitsubishi engines can go to hell forever. Short Bus with a 199 super chat with a thumbs up. Thank you, Short Bus. And all right, cool. It is after midnight. I'm going to see if I can find a 15mm standoff in here, and then we are going to shut this motherfucker down. This is a 10mm spacer. This is probably a 20. Nope, it's a 15, so this is the length that I need. Let's see if I can find one that's female-female. Yes! They exist, and I have them. Oh, fuck. Happy days at last. So the last thing I need to check. Yep, there's a nice little void there. Beautiful. Okay. Hoarding for the win, guys. Next time, save this stream, and next time your significant other gets upset at you for hoarding, be like, no, 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 no. Watch this. And then yet another one of your wives will hate me. It's a joke that Bardwell gets all the time. Like, every FPV person's... Everybody that FPV people live with, like, know Joshua's voice. Look at this. I have red 15mm standoffs. I mean, I have to use them, right? Look at that. Damn, we're getting fancy. I'm going to leave a couple of these out, actually. I'm going to leave a set of these out. Kitty, keep rubbing up against me. Watch how quickly you get the beats. Oh, he just slammed down on the ground. Oh, buddy. Oh, man, he's giving me the full head tilt chin presentation. Oh, I'm going to miss you, buddy. You're a good boy. You're an expensive boy, but you're a good boy. Okay, I think that's all of the red 15s. I'm just going to put them into the other box. Nah, you know what? No. 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 I'm not. I'm not. I'm just going to take a couple extra. Just those three. I'm not going to load that thing up with... Oh, kitten! I'm going to fucking eat you! Bob Noxious says, my build is done. It's a slammed Source 1 8-count F7, 8-count ESC, Mama Motors from the Roma I trashed this weekend. Nice, Bob. Can't wait to see it on Saturday. Double A says, the proto frames you sent me, were they the ones you used to make that video you linked to earlier? It sure is, Double A. It sure is. You've got the official prototype FPV cycle frame from 4-inch Motion on CiottiFPV's pokey little YouTube channel. What do you think of that? It's basically a very early prototype that turned into the Tooth Fairy, whatever the hell the 4-inch school bus style frame is. That's what that thing was. Here's the other nice thing about using these 15mm standoffs. I can just run one screw up from the bottom, like just into this a little bit, and then I can do another screw down from the top through the hybrid a little bit into this. So I don't have to have one big long screw, and that's going to save me a little bit of weight. And the RunCam hybrid board is light enough where I can get away with that. So yeah, this turned out pretty well. So last thing I'm going to do is just take a really quick look at what length screw that I'm going to need, and it's definitely longer than this. I want to screw one of these in so that I remember why the hell I left these out. So let's take an M2x8. I think this might be the right length. Yeah, it certainly is. I could probably get away with an M2x7 though. Let's do that. I have a goddamn million M2x7s. So let's use some of them. So here's how it's going to go. M2x7. This is the M2 that you typically use for to hold the propellers on with T-mount motors. That's an M2x7. So we're going to screw it in like that. Oh yeah, that's perfect. And that is the perfect amount of thread sticking up for our 15 millimeter standoff to screw into. Yeah, that'll be plenty. That'll be plenty. Cool. So that's what it's going to look like. The RunCam hybrid board is going to sit up on top of these. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to do it real quick. Let's just throw these, because this might be a little... I've done this once before, so some of you guys know exactly what I'm doing, but this is a little bit wacky, so let me... It'll take me like 2 minutes to show you guys exactly what the hell I'm up to, so that this makes a little bit more sense. And then Wednesday or Friday of this week, we'll finish this thing up, probably Friday, and it'll all make total sense. So yeah, we'll do 4-inch Friday again this week. I will extend the rear motor wires. I will mount the stack, zip everything down, resolder up the power and video for the RunCam hybrid, and we will have a 20x20, 1804, 4-inch armed, 3.5-inch propellered, RunCam hybrided, Ummagawd 2Fiddy. What do you think of that, world? So this is the plan. We've got these standoffs here to boost the RunCam hybrid up. This little communications package here with the receiver and the VTX are going to go under that. Get the hell out of the way, antenna wires. And then the RunCam hybrid board is going to sit up on top like this. And then that's going to give a straight shot. That's going to give a straight shot to this RunCam hybrid cable so that it'll reach. So, oh, well, I forgot that I have these little rubber grommets on here. And I actually super glued them down. So I didn't really need to go digging for these 15 millimeter spacers. All I needed were those 10 mils that I already had. God damn it, Larry. Well, that was dumb. I do have another RunCam hybrid I could use, I guess. Because this is going to be lighter. How did I not notice that? Are you fucking with me right now? Hold on. Ooh! These are the 10s? These are the 10s. I'll take 2 of these. God damn it. This has always happened to me. Hi, kitten. Keep rubbing up against me. I'll definitely just jump up and feed you. It happens all the time. Oh, it never happens? Oh, okay. So maybe just don't do it anymore then. So these are the 10 mil spacers. I'll need to run longer screws, but see, I've got these little rubber soft mount jib jabs on here. I'll bet you that they're 5 millimeters tall, which means that if I hold this like this, of course they are. Yep, that was it. All that digging around for nothing. Well, that's fine. That's how it goes with building. Okay, so yeah. Didn't need to find these 15s, but it was a fun adventure. We talked about cars for a while. It was a real hoo-ha pleaser. Hey, that's gonna bring us to the end of our live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you didn't, fuck you. Go to hell. You didn't pay for it. Eat my shit. To anyone whose wives or children that I just offended, I apologize. Sort of. Thanks for hanging out, boys and girls. Love every single one of you. Let me get caught up on chat. Leadfinger says, my girlfriend knows the FPV YouTubers I watch as Joshy Bard, Bard gonna learn ya, forehead tattoo guy, gangly angry man. I'm the gangly angry man, huh? Wow. Am I really angry? Oh, man. I'm trying to be less angry. I was definitely angry last year. Gangly angry man. Damn, is it just because I curse? Am I angry? Oh, fuck. Double A says, I'm getting all fanboy over here. Would it bother you if I didn't build it to fly? Do whatever you want with it. This steps it up for me on the nostalgia meter. Got a lot over here. Yeah, for sure. I almost kept it for that same reason, Double A, but I've just got too much shit. Yeah, do whatever you want with it. Hang it on the wall, whatever. It's all good. Put it in a fucking shadow box. Rabaxison says, is that still going to be under 2Fiddy? Yeah, for sure. This will be closer to... this build will probably be 230? Might be down to 220, actually. This will be pretty light. Because this frame is light. This frame is a lot lighter than the Acrobat frame, I believe. So yeah, this should be a pretty light build. It won't be 220. It'll be 230 to 240, I think. Chris Croft says, this is just to keep you longer. Leadfingers says, it's just because you curse. Okay, cool. It's in good humor. Roboxon says, gangly angry. It's the Italian in you. Yeah, it's true. All right, boys. Thanks for hanging. I'm gonna take tomorrow off. I gotta figure the car stuff out tomorrow. So tomorrow's gonna be a day spent on Auto Trader and just all over the place. Here's some flying. What do you guys want to see? I won't read it in time. Computer shits to bed. Right on cue. Epidemic Sound, what do you got for me? Anything good? Nope. Okay, bye-bye. Angry and Dark. All right. Just like me. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Double building? Fuck is double building? I remember double building. Shantytown? Birthday Rip? Ooh, Birthday Rip! It's a good day of flying. I don't think I want this song, though. Last battery from my birthday, April 17th, 2021, where I turned 40 years old. Hopefully it's a good one. Ooh. Ooh. This one's doing it for me. See you Wednesday, boys. Later.